This is the BKLounge podcast. Welcome to laughs, love, and crazy debates by your two favorite hosts, Burt and Kenny. Join us in talks about military life, relationships, golf life, and so much more. Your new favorite place to come hang out on Sundays. Introducing the BKLounge podcast, a Burts Beat Studios production. And now your hosts, Burt and Kenny.
Yep. Hello. Hello, hello, hello.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on, everyone?
How we doing? Welcome in.
Happy Sunday.
Football Sunday.
Football Sunday.
Football Sunday.
Sorry to say, but I believe that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win the first game.
It appears so.
They will be going to the Super Bowl.
Football.
It's tough.
Foosball.
Tough.
48-23 Eagles. Looked like the Commanders might have been coming back, but that quickly changed.
Nope. So, Eagles are going. My best friend Jess, she is an Eagles fan. My boss Lewis is a Washington fan. Your father is a Washington fan.
Yeah.
So, we are Patriots fans.
That we are.
We're Patriots fans.
Go Patriots.
Yep. They're on a bit of a break.
Yep.
So,
That's all right. Everyone needs one.
Yep. We got a couple more months to get our act together.
Can't win them all.
Nope. Can't win them all.
But welcome in. Episode 10. Double digits.
Double digits.
Double freaking digits. Crazy to think that this is actually episode 10.
I know.
It is pretty wild, though.
It's like, what have we been talking about? What have we been doing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember. I was talking to somebody about it. Like, oh, what do you talk about the podcast? I was like, like what? Like life stuff that we got going on. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, we talk about a lot of stuff. Last week. Recap. Ooh.
Oh, killing the recap.
You want me to recap?
Oh, I thought you were claiming it.
One of these?
One of those numbers. Insert emoji.
Insert emoji. We had this on our reel for our social media this week.
We did.
This little emoji.
Yeah.
Bang. Yeah, so we talked about a bunch of stuff, but not a lot at the same time.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes we just like talk and then it's like, did we talk about anything?
Yeah, like, was it real? Were we
Right.
here? Were we talking?
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Episode 9, we kind of went over TikTok, the whole TikTok banning.
The quick little nap it took.
It took a little nappy,
A little siesta.
which it needed, but came back. We talked about what TikTok has done for businesses, for people, for, the pros and cons for our youth.
Our youth. But we use it. We're youthful. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're youthful.
We talked about a new couch,
We did the Costco couch.
the Costco couch. Which,
Quick pivot from the Costco couch. Did you see that some TikTok iPhones are being sold on eBay that still have it for like $25,000?
What do you mean?
Like, because right now, because it got extended 90 days, you can't. It's not back on the App Store. So people who deleted it are going on eBay and paying through the nose for phones that still have TikTok downloaded on it, so they can log into it.
Because people deleted the app.
And they can't get it back anymore.
Wow.
And because it's not in the App Store, you can't recharge your coins or subscribe. You have to do it all through the computer now, because it's still not in the App Store. So therefore, you can't do it with like Apple Pay or whatever.
Wow, that is crazy. I actually had no idea.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be without a phone for a little while, but we're gonna have a down payment for a house.
That's fine.
Perfect.
I don't even care. But yeah, no, we talked about TikTok. We talked about the potential of getting a new couch, and we'll kind of dive into the whole process of that this past week.
Yeah, y'all thought that was just like a quick little breeze over of the couch. Now
here, there, but no.
No.
But yeah, we talked about, what else did we talk about? About Britt and Kyle.
Britt and Kyle and the baby. Yep.
And the baby. And
kind of what we had going on that week.
Yeah, so we kind of, I don't know, it just snowballed. Last week was a snowball episode. We did have a couple of write-ins that we went over.
Yep.
And it kind of put us on blast of each other, of like what are our pet peeves and all of that. And
Yeah, but, like, that's the thing. Like, we know what would absolutely send each other over the edge and, like, create something more than something just, like, giggly and, like, yeah, that is a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah.
And some people, like, came into my stream like, whoa, I can't believe that happened, that, like, you and Kenny got after it. I was like, oh, that's not it.
No, we would never show us getting after each other in...
Because, I mean, well, first off, we don't get after each other.
Yeah.
We have disagreements.
Yeah, when you, like, don't fill up my water before bed.
Yeah. Yeah, when I don't fill up your water before bed.
Yeah.
Or, like, when you don't pick up...
When I don't pick up.
In general.
Period. Well, that's what I have you for.
That's what you have me for. Whoa. That is wrong.
Hey, we all have our thing. We all have
our thing.
We all have our niche.
What am I? I'm not a housemaid.
I didn't say you were.
That's what you have me for?
Yeah. I cook. I do the other stuff. Bring the dogs for a walk. I feed you.
Whoa.
So, that is what we call the tea.
That ain't tea.
That is some tea.
That ain't tea.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Anywho's. So yeah, that's what we kind of talked about episode 9.
Yeah, episode 9. She was also talking about how our topics kind of snowballed. Missed a great opportunity to say that last week's episode snowballed into 1 inch of snow here in the Charlotte area.
Ugh, yeah. We had another week of cold weather here. For like 3 days, it didn't get over like 25 degrees.
Yeah, no, like it was cold.
Tuesday through Thursday, I think. But yeah, my course was closed due to the snow.
Right.
So there's really not much golf being had. When it gets that cold, the greens and the course actually freeze, just like your ground would outside of your home. So you can't really play golf on that. So we closed from Monday through Thursday, which was good because we had a lot of stuff that we had to catch up on, and we'll kind of dive into that at some point in the episode of my work week and how it was such a great week.
Yeah.
When I say that with one eyebrow up, but
the infamous brow. But no, we got a lot of snow. And when I say a lot of snow, it's not like back home Vermont snow, but it's also snow that I don't want. Right.
And the difference between back home and here is we don't have we don't have plows.
We don't have the infrastructure.
Like, no. Like,
up at home, we expect the snow. We know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And here it's like, oh, crazy, the snow's here.
But yeah, so it was like, it wasn't like, oh, everybody, like, prepare for the snow. It was like around noon on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, it's going to snow. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And we're sitting on the couch about to go and look at a new couch.
Yeah.
And I was like, is it snowing? And
there was snow, like, visibly on the ground. Like, it wasn't just like snowing, not sticking. Like, there was snow on the Jeep, on the Jetta. Mm-hmm. Too much snow. So what did we decide to do? We went to Costco.
We went to Costco.
Best time to go to Costco in the South. Yep. When there's snow.
When there's snow.
Dead.
On a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like 6:30 at night.
Yeah.
So,
and the sole purpose of the Costco visit was I can't remember, the Costco couch came back up as to like, oh, I wonder when it's going to be back in stock or whatever after the last podcast. And so I looked again and it said available in our warehouse right down in Matthews. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay, this is strange. Called them to make sure. They're like, yep, we've got one floor model and then like 3 boxes or three different couches. And I was like, okay. So we kind of hemmed and hawed, and then we decided that we were going to go check it out because we looked at the dimensions of it on the website.
Yes.
And our couch is a good sized couch, and ours is like 110 by 90. This one is 135 by 135 if you have it in the perfect L formation, which is massive because our couch right now fills up most of the living room.
Right.
So that was my first like, ooh, this is huge.
Yeah.
But again, it's modular, so we can move it around and change up the settings of it. But we decided to go. Costco's dead. Found the couch. Kenny put her dogs on it and tested it out.
I did. I took my shoes right off.
Yeah.
And I laid down.
It was set up in like the perfect U shape, and that had the ottoman right in the middle, so it was literally just a giant bed.
Yeah.
And she just flops her shoes off and just gets comfortable.
Yeah.
She was testing it out.
I was like, this is nice. I like this.
Yeah.
I was like, this, I would never leave.
Yeah, you'd get couch rot.
I would get couch rot so bad.
Yeah, but we do have some concerns with it.
But he like looked at me, and so like I sat on it. I was getting comfortable, and then I'm like, kick off my shoes, jump into the actual couch. And I was like, yeah, this is good. And I was like, sit down, and he's like, kitty cornered in it, and I'm like, you're freaking me out.
I had like shoes that were tied on, and you were wearing like slip-on somethings. You were wearing your...
Yeah, I was wearing like slides.
Yeah.
But I was like, you're freaking me out with the way you're sitting on this. I was like, enjoy it. Lay down.
So I pulled the ottoman out and then sat in it normally, and I was like, okay, this is a very nice couch. It's very comfortable. It's much like lower backed than ours, and all of the cushions, nothing's attached.
No.
So like the back cushions are pretty much giant pillows, and then like the pillows it has are obviously just like standard throw pillows. But the other thing that we kind of have concern with is, since it's modular, none of the pieces actually like hard connect to each other. And we have a wood floor, and we're thinking if like the dogs are running around, we're getting on and off the couch or whatever, that it might just like separate in random positions and might get annoying of just pushing the couch back together constantly.
So.
And the size of it, we're still trying to figure out how exactly we would do it.
Right. So that was funny. And then we walked around, did a little bit of shopping, and then we had a date night at Costco.
Date night.
And had hot dogs.
We had hot dogs for dinner. Hot dogs, y'all know I love a good hot dog. And we had a nice little table to ourselves at Costco with an umbrella up inside of Costco. It was romantic.
Yep. And then we get outside and...
There's more snow.
There's way more snow.
Yeah.
Covered the car.
Yeah.
And I was like, sweet.
Yeah.
So... That's kind of the update on the couch, is we're still in the process of making the decision.
Right. But what did you come home and say like 2 days after we went and looked at it?
About what? Me thinking that you were going to get it here when I was at work?
Yeah, she came home one day and she's like, oh, I was kind of thinking that I'd come home from work today and the couch would be here. And I was like, hang on, you want me to somehow remove this massive 3-piece couch in our living room, go to Costco in the Jeep, and get this 4 or 3 box sectional, get rid of this other couch, and get the new one all in time from when you left to when you got home?
Yes.
It didn't happen. Didn't happen.
I came home, I was disappointed.
Oh my God.
And, no, I wasn't disappointed. I just had like a midday epiphany. I'm like, that would be so cool. Because I was like, he's being quiet. And there was like one text that like, I'm like, you're not busy. Why are you not responding to me? And granted, yes, he was streaming, but he gets my notifications when he's streaming, as we've talked about before. And I'm like, he's doing suspect stuff. And I couldn't see your location. So I was like, he's getting the couch.
My gosh.
And I was like...
But I also said, as soon as she got her dogs off the couch in Costco and put her slides back on, I said, what do you think? And she's like, we got to think about it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Of course we have to think about it. We're on a budget.
We're on a budget.
So, yeah, no. We don't have a new couch, unfortunately, and we're still in the thinking phase. If there was a way for them to connect, I think it would have been...
Well, Joss actually wrote in and said they make connectors for the feet, but I don't think it has feet, does it? I think it just sits perfectly flat, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that might not work. There's got to be something on Amazon.
It's very low, and our TV is very, like, high up, so, like, for the house that we're in now, it probably wouldn't be the best, but I'm thinking forward, and I'm like, that would be perfect anywhere.
Yeah, like I said, we could make it work, absolutely. It's just a matter of finding someone to buy our current one, getting it out, and then getting that couch from Costco to the house, because on their website they say they're not delivering it.
That sounds like a great project. You know?
Is this you saying we're pulling the trigger on the couch?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
But you wouldn't be mad if you just came home and it was all set up?
I wouldn't be mad if I came home, we had a new couch. It was one that we both like and we've both agreed on. So that it's ours. You and me.
Our couch?
No. Yeah.
No?
Yes.
Yes.
Not you and all these huzzies. Bang. No. That's not the reason why. I don't like the couch that much. I liked your old couch that we had when we lived together. That was a comfy couch.
Yeah, it was a good couch. Yeah, yeah.
It's okay.
It's fine. It is what it is. It is what it is. This is a heck of a start.
We should have known. I've kind of been like on one today.
Yeah, she's been fucking on one today. Yeah, just on one. And yeah.
Sorry for cussing.
No, not sorry for cussing. We're all adults here.
But yeah, no, I've been crazy today, I think. But
Yep. Facts.
like no filter, very like
Goofy, silly, weird.
meat.
Yeah.
Meat. So, whatever. You
Yeah.
know, we move on, we move forward.
We
listen and we don't judge.
Nope, wasn't going for that, but I was going for your other famous tagline of we build
a bridge
and we get over it.
Yeah. Hey, I think that's a great saying. I actually used it about a dozen times this week.
A lot of bridges. A lot of bridges being built.
A lot of people have a hard time getting over those bridges.
Yeah, some bridges just are really, really freaking steep at times.
Steep, drawbridge, they open, you fall down the pipeline of it.
Down the pipeline of it. Little Mario action.
Yep. So, bang. What do you think?
I think I don't really have any thoughts right now.
You have no thoughts?
Not really. Mine's kind of just empty.
Why am I frustrating you?
No, you would never frustrate me.
I frustrate you. Okay. Long dramatic pause.
Insert pause, insert commercial break.
Insert pause, insert commercial break. No, we don't have commercial breaks yet. We don't have any deals.
No.
Nope. But
No brand deals.
You are going back to Vermont this weekend.
I am. I fly out Friday, come home Sunday. I got to go up for drill for the Air Force.
Yep.
Not particularly excited about it.
Do you want to give, obviously, a vanilla version of that?
Yeah. So, as most of you know, I'm still in the military. I was full-time up until May of this past year, moved to Charlotte, stayed in the Air National Guard in Vermont, and have had a bunch of medical stuff going on the last year and a half, and been working through that. I have a VA disability rating, and just at a point in my life right now where the military is not good for my mental health, for my health, and just for my life in general. And I was never expecting this day to come. You know, I get a lot of counterintuitive thoughts in my mind of like, you're giving up, you're not getting a retirement, or you might get medically retired, or you've wasted so many years, or whatever else it is. And obviously I can't get into the specifics of it because obviously I'm still in. I am very understanding with the military in the sense of I know I have a military obligation to a certain date. I also understand that it's not that simple as, hey, I need help and I need to be separated. I get that. But there's a lot of ebbing and flowing that could be different in my opinion. And again, do I think things should be going better? Yes. Are there things that I probably could have done better to set myself up better? Yes. It's just frustrating because I know what I need and I'm trying to get where I need to go for the betterment of my mental health, my health in general, and my life and where I'm at in my life. And it's just not that simple as, you know, pressing a button and never wearing the uniform again.
I mean, you are also very proud to serve and have served for 13 years.
Yeah.
So I think that in my perspective, because I've been in your life for that long and all of that, but I think when some of the things that started arising, you always kept it quiet,
Yep.
especially when you lived in Vermont.
Yeah.
You kind of suffered in silence, which unfortunately a lot of, people in military that suffer with similar things or different things kind of do.
Yeah.
Just because you are proud to serve, you devote your life
Right.
on many different scales to do so.
Yeah.
But it came to a point where you couldn't keep it quiet anymore.
No,
And
it was a lot.
And so I think that a part of, the struggles with going back and, dealing with it is as soon as it came out, it wasn't the reactions and the way of things that you ever imagined.
No. And again, I joined originally to get experience in security forces, to become a police officer in the civilian world. And I wanted to get out after 4 years, become a cop in the civilian world, and live my life. And then that quickly changed, and I said, I'm going to stay up until I'm 60, and they kicked me out. And then, the military changes, things in the military changed me, experienced some things that are part of the job, unfortunately, but that kind of very much gave me a different outlook on life in general and the things that are important to me. And my mental health and my life are the most important things, when before it was always Uncle Sam and the military. Mm-hmm. I experienced some things while I was in the Middle East in 2020 to 2021 that, I kept quiet, didn't really think I needed to deal with or be a part of, and it quickly just kept compiling up to the point where it was like, this is not right, this is not okay, I need to get some help with this.
Right.
And that's when a lot of the other diagnoses came in, and I do have a heart issue as well from some things that have happened in the military. But like my biggest thing is like, I know I signed up for this. I know I have a military obligation, but at the end of the day, what I'm going through and what I'm dealing with and what I'm going to have to deal with most likely the rest of my life is in fact a direct result of military service. Yeah. I am entitled to benefits, help, and care that I need to get better, and that's all I want. That's all I want, that's all I need. And again, I can't really get into the specifics of the pros and cons or the mountains that I'm trying to go over right now. But unfortunately, when I was dealing with all of those tough things and not really saying anything, and when I finally got the help that I needed, it was very much surrounded all by the military, all by my home in Vermont, and just Vermont in general. So now when I go back to Vermont, it's unfortunate because obviously we grew up there, our families are there, our friends are there. But Vermont for me is just a dark cloud. I feel like as soon as I leave this house and get to the airport here in Charlotte, everything is just like black and white. Mm-hmm. And it's heavy and it's shitty, and it just puts me in a really, really bad place. And I experience those bad places here in Charlotte day to day, week to week, night to night, because I'm still dealing with it. It's not as easy as, oh, when I'm not in Vermont, everything's better. Like I'm still battling every single day with different things that pop up and make my mind do the things that they do, but it's not just when I'm away from Vermont, everything's better. I'm still battling. I'm still trying to get better. But when I go to Vermont, when I go put on a uniform, unfortunately, it just absolutely multiplies it by 100,000. It just makes it worse. My parents, my friends, they all are like very much like, we see a difference when you're here. My parents, when we were up in Vermont, kind of made a comment of like, you're not you when you come home. And that sucks. Like I don't want to be not me, but I also don't want to feel that either.
Right.
So, got to go to Vermont this weekend. Again, I have no ill will. I have no hatred. I have no strong feelings other than I want to be better and get the things that I need. And part of getting that and getting where I need to go is going to Vermont, fulfilling my military obligation, working with the doctors and the leadership to get to that point whenever I can, to get myself in a better spot for my mental health, my health, and my life. And they've been good and understanding for the most part. And again, their hands are tied in a lot of different ways. And again, I know it's not as easy as, hey, I don't feel good, I want out. Mm-hmm. I get that, I do. But we've got military members across this country that need the help, and unfortunately either don't ask or don't get it. And I'm not saying I'm not that person, because I've gotten a great support system. I've got a lot of help, and I am getting better. But it's been made clear by doctors that what I'm doing is not helping.
Right.
So.
And I mean, at the end of the day is like, yeah, it's a dark cloud. You go back to a place where, you saw your lowest points.
Yeah. 100%.
And so that will bring any trauma, back to the surface, especially regardless of like family and stuff like that. But you do have a good support system, especially when you do go home. You get to stay with your family.
Yep.
You get to stay with your parents and see them. You have a large group of friends that are still in Vermont. So, you're really only going for 48 hours and then you'll be back home.
Right. And again, I'm very thankful. I'm not forced to be like, hey, you're coming for 2 weeks. That's that. Like, again, they understand the human side of it. But again, it comes down to that military obligation and contract, and we're actively working it with military doctors, civilian doctors, and it's in the process. It's in the works. It's not easy, but Austin wrote in, are you not able to drill out of somewhere else? As of right now, no, because one of the thoughts I originally had was, well, if I'm going to stay in and try to work through this, I'll work through it at a closer location, transfer units. Unfortunately, because I'm down profile and on all these waivers and profiles for the military, I can't deploy. I can't do much of my actual job, and I can't transfer. So it kind of locks me into Vermont, which makes sense to a degree of, hey, you've got a lot of stuff going on. Let's try to solve it where it all, kind of started, kind of thing, which I get. But it's not a perfect system, and it's not easy. But again, if there are military members here that have gone through things or have been hurt or have diagnoses or whatever, you need to get the help that you need. You need to absolutely get the help that you need, whether it's physical pain, trauma, mental pain, trauma. You are entitled to so many benefits and so much care because we all deserve it. Whether it was combat related, not combat related, every single person that puts on a uniform is automatically entitled to a lot of benefits people are either afraid to get, don't know about, or just think that they can deal with it on their own. And I thought I could too, but I couldn't. And I needed the help, and I needed a life change, and I'm focusing on that help and that life change every single day.
Yeah. And you do it. And I mean, even you notice when you moved here there is a lot more support for military.
Yeah.
Especially in the South.
Yep, absolutely.
Than what we have always seen in Vermont.
Right.
And that's unfortunate. And by all means, I don't think that's every person, everything in the state of Vermont, because we have families, we've experienced it. But no, so he has to go up this upcoming weekend. You're leaving late on Friday and coming back mid-morning on Sunday. So you really are only up there for a full day.
Yep.
Which is always good, and unfortunately the darkness that it might bring you, it does bring a lot of lightness to your parents.
Yep, absolutely.
They very much look forward to it. If they could, they would have you bring the dogs with them.
Yes,
because that's true. What they really care about.
Yeah.
But no, he'll be gone. I'll be here. I'll be here with our two bad boys, our two very bad boys.
They're not bad. Cut it out.
No, but yeah. So he has that coming up. I don't really have too much going on.
You got a big day of work Friday.
Big day of work on Friday. We have inventory, which it'll be the first one of the new year. And we're in the midst of budget season right now. And it'll be good. It'll be good to see, kind of get it on paper, and start off the new year with a new budget, all of that. So we're looking very much forward to that. But yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I
we
got
going on this week.
Yeah.
You never know. We might have a new couch this week. Who knows?
Who knows?
We might have snow this week. But the snow has gotten us very worried. Or not necessarily the snow, but the cold temperatures have had us very worried about our boat.
Yes.
We have been freaking out about our boat because, again, this is both of our first years with a boat in North Carolina, and I did a lot of research on it because in Vermont, you obviously have to take it out of the water, winterize it, store it, and a lot of the folks that I talked to down here were like, no, a lot of people keep them on the water, don't really winterize it. Some do, some take it out, whatever it may be. And we kept it in, didn't winterize it, and there's a mechanic shop at our marina. They're looking at it. They looked at it at the end of this week. They said, we'll reach out if anything's wrong. We haven't heard from them, so hopefully nothing is wrong, and then they just winterized it for us. So it's gotten us a little worried about the boat, but things can be replaced.
Things can be replaced.
And we know for next year.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not going to be as cold next year.
I would hope not. But that's the thing. It's like, we also didn't think it was going to be this cold this year.
Yeah.
So next year it's going to be like do we wait until it gets cold and then send them out to winterize it? Or come November, do we just say, just winterize it and we'll get it in the spring? Because, I mean, before I moved down here, I said I wanted to be on the boat like on a cold holiday. Granted, we haven't done that, but...
No.
Because it's been way too cold.
It's been freezing. It's been a very, very, very cold winter here. Which, it is what it is. I mean, we saw snow last week. And I've been here for 2 years, and that was the first time I've seen snow. Yeah, and
our road, we've talked about it before, the road that our house is on is like a cut through between two massive roads. Mm-hmm. And usually people are going like 45, 50 in this 25-mile-an-hour zone. Yeah. Just absolutely whizzing. And the night it was snowing, we were watching TV, and I said to her, this is the slowest I've ever seen cars go. Yeah. Like cars going 15 miles an hour with their hazards on a side street. I'm like, it only took snow to slow people down in a neighborhood. Mm-hmm. But yeah, people whiz through here. It's kind of obnoxious.
Yeah. No, it's very frustrating. But yeah, so.
But yeah, kind of a calm week before the storm, if you will, for me at least.
Then you'll come back, and next week we'll probably have to pre-record.
Yeah.
I would assume.
Either that or we'll have to do a late one. But I also don't want to be like, hey, we're going to do a late one, and then my flight gets stuck and be like, hey, sorry, no, we're going to see you on Monday or whatever else. So we'll probably pre-record for next Sunday just to be safe.
Mm-hmm. So maybe we'll do that on Wednesday or Thursday this week or something like that. So
we won't be live next week, but we will have an episode for you guys and gals that'll go live Sunday at 6 p.m. when we normally go live. So don't worry about that. Tell us about your week this past week.
I had a tough week. It was a tough week for your girl. We were closed, but we are neck deep in budget time. And I mentioned it last week as it's mine and my boss's first time really putting together a formal budget for the club that we're at, because it was done by the previous director of golf. So it's kind of a new thing for the both of us.
Your new baby.
It's our new baby, and it's our responsibility to make it attainable. So that comes with some pressure. Setting new goals for the year and for our team and all of that.
But because you guys have had a lot of changes, not only with the director of golf, you've got a whole brand new big boss too now, who's very in tune with how things should be working and wants to know the nitty gritty, not just from this year, but the years prior. Yeah. So that's a lot of pressure there.
Yeah. So I won't say my big boss's name because his dad is very well known.
I think they're both very well known in golf.
They are both very well known because he did teach with a top 50 instructor for a long time out of Texas. But he's our general manager now, and I mean, he does a great job, and he has a lot of the same ideas, but he also has like very clear-cut expectations of us. So what we need to do in order to perform is, what he sets in front of us, which is good. And we needed it because we didn't have that before, at least at where I'm at now. But yeah, so it's been a little bit stressful, just crunching numbers, making sure the course is okay with the weather, still servicing our members how we need to. But it's been a tough week, just getting an understanding of people. I've been having a hard time, especially with how we've kind of looked at our department, I will say. Yep. Is it was never a very friendly and welcoming atmosphere for anybody. And that was because of previous situations that we're no longer in.
Right.
But with that being said, is we've created a very friendly work environment. And what is seeming to be a problem is there's no clear lines when it comes to,
Work and play.
And I don't really want to go into too much of it because it's not really the place, even though we do create a safe place to talk about things. But
Right.
I'm also in a position that, in management and understanding and moving forward and creating a plan is
It's not done via podcast.
It's not done via podcast. But it has been bothering me all week.
Yeah.
Especially with just figuring out plan of action on how to move forward and how to move into our season, because once March rolls around we're in the thick of it.
Right.
And then we're in the thick of it for about 6.5 months.
Right.
So for me and my boss, just creating a plan on how to move forward into the season with not having some of the, what I want to call speed bumps that we are having right now.
Right. But managing people's tough. Managing people's not easy. Because again, you want to create that perfect work environment.
Correct. And for me is I do bring a lot of emotion, and like I talked about last podcast is I work based off of my emotion, but I also have a work ethic where I want everything to be good and I want everything to be thought of the way that I think. And sometimes especially in positions of management that I've been at here or at my last job or in previous positions elsewhere, is I have a hard time understanding why people don't think the way that I do. Right. And that's my own learning curve.
Right.
When it comes to...
Because at the end of the day, you also know not everybody's going to think like you.
Correct.
And you've got, things figured out in your mind and thoughts and just like everybody else. And it just makes it tough because humans are all different. We all interact different. We all learn different. We all do different. So managing people is such a hard thing. Like I went through that, obviously, managing people in the military and, different ages, different experiences, different backgrounds. Like it just adds a whole different dynamic when it comes to managing people and whatever the mission is.
Right, and it's not even about managing the people right now. I think it's just perspective and understanding, and not everybody's in the same room at all times having the same conversations, and it's not up to everybody to be in those conversations either. And so for me, I've been having a hard time. I don't need to enlighten anybody. I don't need to explain it unless if it is direct response to something I do need to talk about.
Right.
And it's the same thing with my boss. And he's newer to the position of being the director of golf, but I could never imagine defying him. I could never imagine saying no to him.
Right.
Because as much as he's my friend and him and I have a great work relationship, I would never tell him no.
Right.
And not all people think that like that.
Right.
And that is something that I'm I don't really understand, because the way that I put it into perspective is you're the guy that flips burgers at McDonald's. You have the person that walks around to make sure that they have everything to have all of the materials to make their menu.
Right, do the job well.
But yet you haven't put a single patty down on the burner, right? And they come up and they're like, okay, it's time to put down 10 patties. And you turn and you're like, yeah, I'll get to it in 5 minutes, or I'm about to go on break. I don't really feel like doing it.
Right.
It's
you got a job to do.
You have a job.
Right.
And regardless if you want to, regardless of your perspective.
Right, and that was one of my big things when I was in the military. It's hey, I need you to do this. Mm-hmm. You might not understand the why behind it, and I might not be able to give you the why behind it right now, but as your supervisor, this needs to get done. Mm-hmm. That should be the end of it.
Right.
And I had to learn in the military on my last deployment was we have a lot of younger folks in the military, obviously, who want to know the why behind it.
Right.
And I was very much they don't need to know the why. Mm-hmm. You're their boss. I'm your boss. We need to get this done. They need to do it. There should be no questions. They should be popping up and doing it. And one of my supervisors that was underneath me was Sergeant Riley, the younger generation wants to know the why behind it. It helps, fuel them or whatever. And I was like, okay, I can understand that. There's going to be certain times where we can tell them the why because we've got the time, we've got the manpower, whatever else it is. But there's some times where you just got to do it. Right. And if I can tell you later on, there's sometimes where I'm going to need you to do something that you're never going to know the why behind it. But if I'm telling you, it's because it needs to be done and it's important.
Right. But like and like that's the same thing is, I don't really manage the people that are in, higher positions. Like I manage outside staff. So like that is, I hire, I fire, I schedule, I do all of it for our outside staff. So it's like just a branch off of our department. And most of them are younger kids.
Right.
And most of them are people that are either trying to get into, the profession, using it as a part-time job in college, or even like first-time jobs for kids in high school.
Yeah.
So like I have a wide range of people. I have guys that are older that are my starters. I have guys that are juniors in high school.
Right.
I have seniors in college.
Right.
There's no in between, but it's taken a long time to get them to, have an understanding of why we do things, but not why I ask them what to do. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm very lax.
Yep.
When it comes to it, is because I create this friendly work environment.
Right, because you don't want your employees coming to work being like, I hate this, my boss sucks, this is a living hell.
Because we also have reflection on we have reviews. We have department head reviews, and Lewis and I just had one, and it wasn't great. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't even a matter of like all of the things that we do wrong. It comes down to communication, and it comes down to like, we had a transfer of management middle of our season. So like it wasn't an easy process. Right. It wasn't clean cut. There was no instruction manual, and we still had a season to get through.
Right.
But like for the outside staff is they listen to me, they listen to Lewis, my boss, but they have a hard time listening to anybody else.
Right.
And that's a constant battle is because we can't be there every day.
Right.
And so it's just creating, a new standard. And that's where we're having a hard time right now is creating a new standard for our work environment.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's going to come down to the fact that we don't get to be friendly anymore.
Right. And that's, the unfortunate part. And that, kind of comes with the territory of like, hey, we gave you this, opportunity. Like I was the same way. I went into the deployment and I was very open. I was like, I want everyone's input. I want this to be a great space. And then when, it was taken advantage of and there was too much silliness going on and not the baseline of like, hey, these are your duties and responsibilities. You know what you're supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. You're not doing it. Well, we're gonna be doing a lot less of the fun things because you can't do the minimum things that you're supposed to do.
Correct. And so I had one really tough day where it was kind of coming at us at different angles, and in the middle of it, we're trying to work on this high stress budget.
Yeah.
We have our first draft due in
2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
And we don't have much on paper because we're doing it in separate parts. He's doing one half, I'm doing the other, then we put it together and then we put it on our budget
But you
sheet.
also have other things that are going on and other fires to put out, literally.
Yeah. So with all of that going on, I came home, I imploded and then exploded, and we talked it out. We talked on the couch, kind of told you verbatim of all of the situations that had happened from, different perspectives, and kind of let out my frustration because I knew in 12 hours I had to go back to work.
Right.
And it's just a matter of just changing how I think right now.
Yep.
And it's hard because I am stubborn and I don't want to think any other way than the way I think.
Right.
But at the end of the day, there is a greater goal, and, how we get there is not going to be easy, but...
Right, and it's not just about one person. It's not just about you. It's not about, your boss or the people, within your, supervision. It's that whole goal of doing the best that you can for the club.
Correct.
That's all that matters.
And not everybody sees it through the same glasses either.
Very true.
So that's unfortunate, but it's just a matter of how we attack that.
Yep, making changes and setting, things in place to get to that goal and get people's minds and understandings on the same wavelength. And things may change. The feel of the office might change, and that's a part of the ebb and flow of managing people, managing a department, and trying to get to that overarching goal of being the best that you can for that goal.
Right. And I need to care a little less of what people think of me. And if they want to think a certain way, then I just have to almost let it be.
Yeah, I mean, that's on them. I mean, if they want to have conversations that are respectful and appropriate and, professional, then get after them.
Right.
Get after them, because obviously you want input as a supervisor and as a peer of like, hey, if I'm doing something wrong or I'm not doing something that helps that overarching mission, I want to know.
Right. And it's also like, we've talked about it thousands of times, is like, I really do enjoy the team that we have. Like, I do enjoy all of them. I think everybody has pieces that they do very well, and I think that's why at times we function seamlessly.
Right.
But when we don't, all of the pieces seem to fall apart.
Right. And I mean, in that itself shows that, hey, look, it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
We have the tools and the mindset and the knowledge to get it done.
Right.
But when we start teetering back on the other side of like, hey, we ain't doing it, we need to think back at, okay, hey, we did it. What were we doing when we killed it?
Right.
Let's get back to that.
Right. And at the end of the day is like, it's really just me supporting my boss into making decisions, because there are his decisions and it's his conversations, and we can put our heads together and make the best result. But at the same time, it's up to him, and I have full faith that
Right.
he can do it.
Yep. But just in that same sentence, your boss gives you something, hey, this needs to be done. You can have the opinion of, in your head, this is stupid, this is a waste of my time, I don't agree, but those don't control anything. Mm-mm. If you want to give respectful input when you can, absolutely have that conversation. But like we've said, at the end of the day, your boss is telling you need to do something. Right. We got to get after it.
Yeah. And so, like, it is what it is, and, we'll get through it, and, I have faith that our standard will be created in a way that we both want it to be seen. But it'll take time. Our priority right now is definitely our budget.
Yep.
And the smaller things around us will...
Yeah, you got a big speed bump ahead of you right now, and that's the budget. And those little speed bumps will get ironed out, and after that big speed bump, and you just kind of take it in the pecking order of priority and what needs to get done and what was set in front of you by people above you. And like you said, you guys are absolutely going to figure it out. You're gonna make changes, and some of those changes might not work. Right. And you might have to go back to the drawing board and change it up a little bit more. But
and on top of that, with all of these speed bumps and with a crazy budget, is yesterday, about an hour and a half, 2 hours before we left, we got a phone call saying that the course is on fire. And I was like, this has got to be a joke. And I was like, it's never ending. And I literally looked at my boss and I was like, this week has been a fever dream. And I was like, none of this is real.
None of this is making sense.
I was like, it's not adding up. It doesn't make sense. This is insane. And I was like, but all right. So we jump up out of our office and we drive out there. And I was like, I don't see any smoke. We come around the corner and over this hill, and about 50 yards of a section of rough completely up in flames. And I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And I was like, well, what do we do? And we pull up, and on the other end of this blazing fire, we see 4 of our members with their towel hitting the edges so that it stops spreading. But I was like, this is the craziest thing. Yeah. This isn't the craziest thing I've seen. I was like, but I've seen a lot of stuff in this profession.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a fire.
Yeah, because you texted me, you're like, the course is on fire. And I was like, and my first thought was like, must be a crazy day, but it's like cold out. It can't be that busy. Things just must be going sideways. Or like maybe there was a kitchen fire at the restaurant. And then you sent me the video and I was like, holy crap. Mm-hmm. The golf course is actually on fire.
So I was like, this is insane. I had like 2 water bottles. I dumped it on an edge. Literally didn't do anything. But so my boss calls our superintendent to see if he has connection to turn on our sprinklers, but it has to be done manually through a different device that's on property, and he wasn't there. So at that point, we hang up the phone, we call the fire department. They're just around the corner, and like within 2 minutes, I can hear the sirens in the distance. I was like, this whole thing is going to catch on fire before we even know it. But we were like just stomping out the edges so that it stopped spreading, and then this giant gust of wind came across, and that fire spread from one edge of the fairway all the way to the other side, and I'm like, this is not right.
That's insane. That's wild.
And I was like, nothing like it was just a shit sandwich with just a little cherry on top. And I was just like,
I just couldn't believe that in the middle of winter, and like you explained to me like the dryness and all that kind of stuff, but I was like, I can't believe that it just caught fire. And granted, you guys really don't know exactly what happened, but
yeah, we don't know. There was an investigator that came out. We had fire trucks, we had police, we had the whole kit and caboodle come out. But at this point, we're in the middle of our golf course. They can't bring the fire truck onto the cart path. It would break the cart path, and there's just no good entry point. So they like all ran up pretty much to kind of assess and see if they had to pull it around through the neighborhood on the side, run the hose through.
Right.
And I was like, this is just a mess.
Yeah.
This is a mess. And thankfully, they, brought their rakes, spread it out on the edges, and it just stayed in a confined space.
Yeah.
And it burnt itself out at that point. But I was like, this is just too good. This is just too good. And so there was a fire, but like I said, I was like, it's like in winter when you have something that's really, really cold. Like, it's just like your hands. In the winter, your hands get dry and ashy and crack and cold. It's the same thing with the grass. There's no moisture that goes on to them.
Right.
It's dormant grass, which is just dead surface area. So it could have been a cigarette butt. It could have been, like I said, from somebody's chimney and ash that flew, within a couple 100 feet and just landed and just boom.
Yeah, it's wild. I genuinely was confused when you said that. I was like, there's no way there's a fire on the golf course. And then you said that to me. And my initial thought was like, some kid had to set a fire.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way.
Because, we don't talk when I'm at work that much.
No.
And I literally stopped what I'm doing because I was like, I can't control this fire. I'm wearing Vans. And I was like, this is insane. And I texted him, I was like, there's a fire on the course. And he was like, a fire? And I was like, yeah, a fire. So that was just a good way to end out the week. So
yeah.
I was very, very pleased with that.
And thankfully, it was in the off season, and the course wasn't packed with people.
Correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we had that grass will come back greener than it ever was before. So that's always a positive when you have controlled fire like that. But it was hard to see that initially. I was just like, this grass is on fire right now.
Insane. Absolutely insane.
But yeah, so
what a week.
What a
week for you. What an upcoming week for me.
I'm ready to close the door of this week and move on to next. And I hope that this next week is not nearly as chaotic and stressful. And
not as cold and snowy or as hot as flames.
Mm-hmm. Today was warm. I was wearing shorts. Went and cleaned the car today.
Yeah, I saw you in shorts. I was like, is it really that warm out?
It was.
That's good. I'm glad. Should we go into our new segment?
Yeah. So we're going to do a new segment, especially on weeks like this, and I think it's a perfect week to do it.
Yeah, I agree.
And I used to do this. I did it in college. I did it in high school, but we talk about our rose and our thorn of our week. I think we know what my thorn was. I think I had a lot of thorns.
Yeah, a lot of work week thorns. Any me thorns?
Thorns about you?
Yeah. I don't know why I tee myself up for these questions.
Not that I can think of.
Love that. Moving on. What was your rose?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm like, ooh. I don't know. I think that my rose we had a good week at home.
Yeah.
There was no bickering, disagreements. We started a new show.
We did.
And that was good, and that was a good way to decompress.
Yep.
You did a solid by ordering food and it was here when I got home.
Yep.
After
Kenny was
long
having a
day.
rough day yesterday with the whole flames and the previous, days of work, and I was like, she's probably going to be home later than she expected. She's not going to want to stop at the grocery store. She's not going to want to cook when she gets home because we don't have anything. And I was like, I'm going to get some food. And I almost felt bad because I felt like I was asking you too many questions. I was like, brother, just fucking order something. Then I was like, heaven forbid I order something that she doesn't want or wasn't feeling. And then it's just going to be like, I didn't want this. I'm just going to make something else because that's how I think.
Yeah.
Do I really think that you were going to come home and like smack away whatever I ordered? Probably not.
No. And like that's the difference between him and I is because I know when I do that for you, as I'm like, you don't have an option. I'm going to order it. I know what you like. I know what you eat.
Yeah.
And so we'll leave it at that and you eat what I just got you.
Yep. And I have no issues. No issues. None. But no, I did order food last night for Kenny and it was here when she got home.
I would say that was my rose because that was very nice and that was very much what I needed. And I would say the past couple of days is usually when I have a tough day at work, I just need a moment of quiet and space. And it was a good mixture.
Yeah.
I think we had a good week.
I think we had a great week.
With understanding.
Yep.
Connection.
Yep. Nope, because again, there are some days where you come home and it's just like, that is that.
Yeah.
But no, I felt that, especially like last night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep, with all the thorns.
With a couple thorns,
yep.
yeah.
Yep. It was good. It was good.
Yeah. But no, it was good. And I've been like very tired.
Yeah, you've been falling asleep like extra quick.
Quick, early. So
again, Kenny can sleep anywhere. Kenny doesn't move when she falls asleep. She'll fall asleep in one position at 10 o'clock at night, and at 7 a.m. she will wake up in that same position. She also can sleep through anything. We were watching our new show, The Night Agent.
Yeah, we were just talking about this with Joss and
Yeah,
Kim.
and she falls asleep on the couch, episode 1 of the new season that just got released on Thursday. And like gunshots are going off, grenades are going off, like there's explosions everywhere, and she is just out cold. So then I wake her up, I'm like, let's go to bed. Mm-hmm. We get into bed, and I'm watching Hell's Kitchen, and I have it on like volume 3. And I'm like, oh God, I hope this doesn't wake her up. I hope. And like a commercial would come on, and it would get a little bit louder, so I'd turn the volume off during a commercial. And then like the next day, I was like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
She was literally sleeping through explosions. And I'm like worried that Chef Ramsay's going to wake her up over the beef Wellington.
Yeah, no. And I think that's crazy. Because he like, when I got home the next day, he was like, did you like hear anything? And I was like, what do you mean? He was like the TV when we were in bed. And I was like, you were watching TV in bed? But like, that's my whole point is Gordon Ramsay himself could be in our kitchen screaming about beef Wellington and saying God knows what, and I would never wake up.
Yeah. So that's just me being me and being too worried that I'm going to wake her up. So now I know I can at least have it on like 7 or 8 and I'll be fine and hear it way better. Because like it was dark, I couldn't figure out the subtitles.
He almost just put it on mute and threw on the subtitles and just read it. And I was like, that's the most insane thing.
Yeah, that's some Nick brain right there.
But what was your rose and what was your thorn? Other than your rose being me waking up and going to bed with me every single day and as the love of your life.
Just so many roses. So many roses. So many roses. Honestly, I think of like simple roses. I think of a simple rose being when we went to Costco. It was like a little outing.
Say your real rose.
What do you mean my real rose?
Why was the Costco trip your rose?
Well, we shared a nice meal of hot dogs.
See, it was the hot dogs. The hot dog was your rose. A bouquet of dogs.
No. It was a cheap dinner date. It's in our budget. And we got to spend time together. Outside of the house. It was we were excited about
we shaved off 5 years of our life from the one hot dog we
Yep, that's
ate.
fine. $1.50, hot dog, drink. Sign me up.
That is insane.
Sign me up. My thorn this week,
I know what it is.
I mean, I think the biggest thorn is just the thought of going back to Vermont.
No. I think your actual thorn, because that's just, I don't think that's true.
Okay.
And who am I to say what your thorn is? But I think your thorn was transferring your banks.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So I have a credit union back in Vermont, and I just opened up a Chase business account here to track my business stuff. And then I was like, well, it'll be easy. I need to get a bank here in Charlotte anyway. I'll open up a Chase one for my personal banking. Went through. Chase was awesome, super easy. Military get like free everything, no annual fees or whatever. And so then it's now getting my money from my credit union in Vermont to my Chase bank, and I had to do a wire transfer. And I get a call of like, hey, we're calling about your wire transfer. And I was like, yep, approved. And they're like, oh, like, why are you moving this money? And I'm like, oh, I moved. I'm getting a new bank. I'm not in Vermont much anymore. And then she was like, oh, yeah, you need to do that in person. And I was like, what do you mean I need to do this in person? It allowed me to do a wire transfer on your website. It sent me a text with a code. It sent me an email with a code. I gave the correct codes. It says it would take 5 days. Why do I need to be in person? Well, it's just a large sum of money and this and that. And I'm like, you make it sound like I'm moving $50 million. And she's like, well, call back tomorrow and there'll be someone you can talk to. And I'm like, okay. Call back on Saturday. And the lady's like, yeah, what can I help you with? I was like, oh, I'm calling about my wire transfer that's all hung up. And she's like, oh, well, we can't do anything on the weekends because the Federal Reserve is closed. And I'm like, okay, so do I need to do this in person? She's like, no, you did everything online. We just needed to verify. And I was like, what is going on? And she was like, do you want me to have someone call you from management on Monday? And I was like, I guess. I just want this wire transfer to go through and not be like put through the ringer to try to get my money from one of my accounts to a different account.
I gave him some perspective. And I did that this morning. Because it's making you angry.
It's not making me angry. It's just like, just give me my money. It's my money.
But I said, well, like, okay, you're moving money, but, like, how do they know that it, like, the whole process of it?
Yeah, I mean, yes, but again, it comes down to the text message code and the email code. Like, those are two different verifications.
You're emptying a bank account. It's probably a good thing that they're being cautious on moving.
Yes, agreed. Like, hey, is this you? Verify again. Yup. But then to tell me, like, oh, you do it in person?
Well, that person didn't really know what they were talking about. But
wrong.
The lady you spoke to yesterday.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, it's fine. We'll call you on Monday and it'll go through. Just give me my money.
But he was like, the Federal Reserve, and I was like, you have a bank at a federal credit union.
Yeah, didn't really think of that. But again, I just think it's my money. I understand it's a federal credit union, but like...
It doesn't work like that. But somebody asked what was the show, and it's The Night Agent on Netflix.
Yep. Season 2 just came out. The first season was in 2023. Incredible.
We watched it in like 2 days.
Watched it in 2 days. So do you think my rose was a good rose choice, or do you think there's a better rose choice?
No. I just don't think you thought of it. I don't think you thought of it because you read the notes and I don't think you had enough time to process.
You wrote the notes and you didn't have any roses.
It was a bad week for me. What do you want from me?
Well, you fall asleep and wake up next to me every day. Why couldn't that be your rose?
It's different.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that.
I think one of my thorns too was that you're making the fun of the way I walk.
Yeah, she's been walking, like I said, she's been on one today in the last couple of days. She's been walking with like her shoulders out, like swinging her arms, like taking up the whole hallway, like eyebrows down, like stomping everywhere. So I mocked her today. I put on her little beanie and I grabbed her Stanley and I walked down the hall with it.
And he asked me, who am I? And I said, Tammy?
Yeah, from Trailer Tales.
But yeah, no. So... it is what it is.
It is what it is. But that's our little new segment, Rose and Thorn. I like it.
Yeah. Hopefully we have more roses than thorns in our future. But That was... What?
You just make it sound like there's no roses.
I didn't have a great rose. I will say taking my dogs out of my shoes and laying down in Costco that was a good rose.
That was a good rose.
Yeah.
But we did...
I laid my head down. And
yeah, you
I
did
was
get pretty comfy. And then last night we went to watch our show, and I was like, oh man, I wish we had this giant bed couch. And she kind of gave me the look.
Yeah, I was like, you could have surprised me with it.
Yeah. I'd literally have to rent a U-Haul to get the couch from Costco to here.
It's 4 boxes.
4 boxes. And I think maybe one of them would fit in the Jeep and the rest would not. Even on like singular back and forth trips. Wouldn't work.
No.
Wouldn't work. But we did save a couple minutes at the end of the podcast for some live write-in questions. And if you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify or watching us on YouTube, this is filmed every single Sunday live on our Twitch page, twitch.tv/thebkloungepod. So we've got some time left over for some questions on this episode 10 double-digit milestone. And I just want to say thank you to all the new followers over here on our Twitch page. A great man by the name of Candyman came by, dropped 10 gifted subs on the community, as well as some brand new subscribers and some reoccurring subscriptions that have popped through tonight. So we just want to say thank you a ton. And let us know your questions. Let us know. I saw a couple comments of like, hey, I'm in management. This is so relatable. Like, we love to see that kind of stuff. Or maybe you're in management and want to pick our brains because we are both, I'm no longer really in management, but Kenny's actively in management. And obviously I managed quite a few airmen and women in my tenure with the military. So what kind of questions y'all have for us at the end of episode 10? It's a little quiet over there, I see.
It is very quiet. What do you got for us?
Give us something. Hammer was in here last week asking some killer questions.
Yeah,
some deep thought questions.
Yeah, like I had to take a minute to really think about them.
Yeah.
Crazy
crickets over there. My goodness, nobody's got any questions for us tonight? I feel like
we have 107 people watching live right now.
Yeah.
And I decided not to transfer anything from people that wrote in and give everybody the opportunity, but they're being quiet.
Because usually we always have like a ton of questions throughout the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, Dode says, how many outfits today, Kenny?
3.
I was going to say, it's got to be 3 or 4.
It's 3.
Y'all.
They don't want to listen to us anymore. They're sick of
done.
us. You know what they're doing is they're probably watching football right now.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Joss asked, tell the story of how I tried to convince you to date Nick.
So Jocelyn is my best friend. We worked together in Vermont and became inseparable. And Joss was always hanging around when Kenny was in town visiting.
And I think it was actually
It was like either a Thanksgiving or Christmas time.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like the first time I went home last year or the second. But her and Kim, I think because Kim was there for both, or she was there for one. But I think it was the one that Kim was there for.
Yep.
And was like, well, why don't you love him? He loves you. He's a great guy. Or all of this. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And she's like, I forget how it went.
I think she literally asked,
she's like,
are you going to give him a chance?
Are you ever going to give him a... Yeah, she literally, point blank was like, are you ever going to give him a chance? And I was like, no. And she was like, why? And I was like, I'm not interested in that.
And now look at us.
Joke's on me.
Joke's on you. Persistence is key.
But yeah, no. Joss was always like, you need to give him a chance. You need to do this. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Whatever. I didn't say, yeah, I know back then. I was like, absolutely not. I don't know what kind of foolery he's been saying to you, but I'm not doing that. Yes, it was the first time.
I think it was the first time you guys actually met in person.
Yeah. It was straight to the serious questions.
Yeah. Wit has asked, how long have we been together?
Almost a year.
Almost a year. That's crazy to think.
Officially.
Yeah, officially a year.
I don't even know, what would you consider?
It was right before St. Patty's Day, I'd say.
What do you think that is?
The Friday before St. Patrick's Day. Or the Saturday before St. Patrick's Day.
Why? You were here?
The weekend before St. Patrick's Day, I was here, yes.
You would say that was the start of our relationship?
When would you?
I don't know. Maybe we aren't even in a relationship.
You're out of your effing mind. Dode says, what's for dinner?
Actually, that's a great question. I am making a protein pasta crock pot dish. And I have red sauce and white sauce together. So it's almost like a vodka sauce minus the vodka. It's actually cooking in the crock pot with chicken right now. And I have protein pasta that I will eventually mix in with some Parmesan cheese. I saw it on TikTok.
It's going to be good.
So
Everything Kenny makes is delicious. Saint wrote in and said, how do y'all decide on how much alone and together time you have as a couple?
We haven't really figured out the perfect ratio for that. But we're working on it. We've gotten better at understanding.
There it is. I was waiting for the we've gotten better.
We've gotten better at understanding that. Like today, he streamed, and I was still like, I still want to be alone a little bit. I went and got our sandwiches at J. Mike's, and then I went to the car wash, cleaned my car, and I went to the grocery store. So I had some like true alone time.
Yep.
So that was good.
Nate wrote in saying, y'all full-time streaming. I stream full-time, Nate, on the Burts Beat page, and Kenny is a golf professional.
Have I ever made buffalo chicken dip in a crock pot? I have. I prefer baking it because I like to have like a crisp on the top. I'm not like a diehard buffalo chicken dip fan. You like buffalo chicken dip.
I do. I just can't be too spicy.
Yeah.
We had some today, actually, that she got at the store. It's pretty good. A little spicy, but a little spicy.
We've had a couple of questions saying if I will ever stream in the city. Probably not. I think that, like, we've talked about it. I think it would have to be, like, a serious, like, goal.
Yeah, because, again, I think you would do extremely well with it. I think you'd build an audience very quickly and would be very successful at it. But it's also not something that... It's not like you've played computer games a lot.
No.
So it's all new to you. So, I think if you ever wanted to, you'd be extremely successful at it and would enjoy it, but...
Yeah, I think this is, like, the extent of streaming anything is doing something like this and actually, like, talking. I don't think that I would necessarily be bad because I can yap like no other most of the time. But no, I don't think that I could do what you do.
No, and again, I think you could play just about any game, and I think you'd be successful at it. Landon says, are you streaming again today, Burt? I am not. We are going to probably eat some dinner and watch a show and relax on this Sunday, maybe play a little Nintendo. Switch action.
We're going to watch the football game.
That's what we're doing. Yes, the football game.
If it's crazy bad, then we will not be
watching that.
We're not rooting. I don't want to root for either of the teams that are playing right now, between Kansas City or the Bills. I dislike them both. I very much dislike the Bills just because I'm a Patriots fan, but I don't like the Chiefs because I don't think they're deserving of what they have. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up for episode 10. Double digits in the books. 10.
For the people that are listening, we have the 10. Mine's a 10.
Yeah,
10. 10.
But yeah, thank you all for joining us. I hope you all had a great week, and thank you as always for joining us on these Sunday live streams. Again, next weekend will not be live. We'll have a pre-recorded episode for you because I'll be traveling for the military. But we'll see you again in 2 weeks for a live in-studio recording. And make sure y'all are dropping us a follow on our Instagram pages. We each have our own, and then we have one for the BKLounge podcast as well. We're on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Download them, like them, review them, share them, all that good stuff. We appreciate each and every one of you for all of the love and support you show the BK Lounge every single week and the days in between. So, any last words, Kenneth?
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye. Y'all be good. We'll see you next week now.
This has been the BK Lounge Podcast with Burt and Kenny. We hope you enjoyed your time diving deep in on wild topics, listening to crazy stories, and hanging out with us. We'll see you next week live on Twitch. Be sure to check out our website for all our social links at www.thebkloungepod.com. Y'all be good now, and we'll see you next time.